Oh, hi, hello there, YouTube. My name is Antonio Pazoulis. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about the 3 things I learned this year that made me a better cinematographer. So I was doing a bit of Christmas shopping earlier today, and I thought to myself, I wonder what presents I'm going to be given this year. And as a growing man who's turning 30 in about a month, I realized that you tend not to be treated. You tend not to be spoiled the older you get. And the expectation matches that. So I asked myself, what presents did I give myself this year? Not in the means of material goods, Mac Mini M4, but more talking about what gifts did I give myself in self-improvement that I can go into the new year with as kind of a gauge to, oh, you know what? I am getting better. I am on the right path, instead of focusing on the negative like the stupid overthinker I usually am. So I wanted to share with you the 3 things that I learned through my work, through myself, that maybe could resonate with you a little bit and help you understand your work a bit more. Let's get to it. The first thing I learned this year about being a better cinematographer was not to make every shot as beautiful as it can be. What I mean by this is something that kind of sounds a little bit negative, like kind of counterproductive. It's like, Antonio, isn't your job as the cinematographer to make sure that everything is as beautiful as it needs to be? Yes and no. Sometimes in shooting projects of various forms, we get too wrapped up in how can I make this as beautiful as it can look? How can I follow everything I know, throw my style at it, and get the best beautiful shot out of this? But it's not giving you the best coverage for the actor in that particular moment or the subject, because all you're worried about is how it looks. Now, let me tell you from personal experience, being that guy who's shown other people his proudest shots that he's ever achieved. The most gorgeous setup with the perfect contrast ratio, the nice bokeh in the background, and being super like, oh, they're going to think I'm a lighting god. They're going to bow down at my feet. These people don't think about that. It gives them a feeling, sure, and people in the industry might give you a pat on the back, but this is at the end of the day secondary to what's most important for the coverage for the scene. Now, sometimes the scene calls for very hard, unflattering light. Maybe outside under a street light, maybe with streaks of light coming in the room. Maybe it's important for the scene that things don't look as good as they could, because this is a gritty moment or an emotional moment or whatever it may be. This moment may not call for your short side, 3-point lighting, super soft, super beautiful, natural look. Maybe it just calls for natural light coming in the window, and then everything else is silhouetted. That could look good too. This is the problem. When you're on YouTube, you're looking at different cinematographers. The term is so broad, you're not sure who you're talking to nowadays. We got people who are doing commercials, who are doing narrative films, who are doing short films, who are doing YouTube videos, and content creators all call themselves cinematographers now. Now, I'm not saying that's valid or invalid. I'm not the guy to make that call, but there's a tendency to be an issue where when you see somebody who identifies himself as a cinematographer online, you don't stop to ask what kind of work that they're doing. They don't take the time to tell you, and you assume the advice that they're giving you comes from a place that's similar to yours. You know, now you could be taking advice from a content creator how to shoot your narrative short film, and that just doesn't mesh. Those are 2 different worlds. Both art forms in their own way. We're not discrediting one over the other, but different. Now you learned all your stuff from a content creator. You're on set and you're like, where are our ring lights? Where are our Amarans with our soft boxes? And these people, these narrative filmmakers are like, bro, we've got grip packages. We've got grip boxes with silks, nets, diffusions. We've got sky panels. We've got, well, now it's mainly aperture I'm seeing on set, but like, you get the point. Everyone's gonna look at you like you're a nut job. This guy's asking for a $200 light fixture on this film where we have a grip truck. You don't know what you're doing, buddy, and it shows. Second thing I learned as a cinematographer this year that's very important, you gotta work on your previs. You gotta go and take the time to find other images online, even if they're not anywhere close to where your mind is gonna end up when you're coming up with the shot list with the director, or if the director's coming up with the shot list. It doesn't matter. You need to do the previs. You need to see what's come before, what has gotten jobs before, what has someone's gotten paid doing this before. You got to find who that person was, look at their work, and go, okay, now I know a man who gets, or a woman who gets paid that much to do the job I'm about to do comes up with an image that looks like this. And you can take that and turn it into your own little image. It's going to be just as beautiful in its own way, but you have somewhere to start. You're not just you're not just pulling names out of the hat randomly being like, okay, I guess let's just put everything on the dolly because we can move back and forth, back and forth. We can make up our mind later which position we liked, which take we liked, and there's no continuity, and your editor's looking at the footage and he's going, what the hell, bro? What have you done to me? I quit life. And if you're watching this video for advice from a guy like me, it probably means that you're at the point in your career where you're editing your own videos. So do your future self a favor and previs, plan everything. Make sure you know the shots will connect and that you'll have a nice, beautiful body of work. It's terrible when you have 3 beautiful shots on the location. You're like, these are perfect, man. We have a movie. And then you get to post and you go, oh, those were the only good shots that we had. The rest were unusable. Now we have a post of a project that we were working on that no one is ever going to see the final edit of. Third most important thing that I learned as a cinematographer this year that I'm going to take into 2026 and be super badass, wonderful Superman. I'm going to be unstoppable. I'm going to be working on all the projects with all the RE cameras. Everyone's going to look up to me. I'll finally be able to afford a hazer machine on set. Finally going to get that haze machine I'm looking for and not have to use a Pro Mist filter and cry when I'm in DaVinci Resolve afterwards. The gear that you use does matter. You thought I was going to say the opposite. Here's the thing. It is important until you get to a point when you can afford a rental budget of using like an RE Alexa Mini or any RE camera from the last 7 or 8 years, or any Sony camera that's in the cinema line and up, where you have an amazing dynamic range that you could basically do no wrong. You have to worry about the gear that you're using. When you're shooting at the very beginning and you're using cameras that are under $4,000 Canadian, it matters. It matters what gear you're using because these cameras have limitations. They can get some beautiful shots, but their limitations need to be known by you before you go out into the field and burden people with trying to learn those limitations and their solutions on the spot, the day of, in front of a crew of people, which is really hard to do and really, really lowers your self-esteem because you're going to start to think, oh my God, I'm a dumbass. So learn your gear. It's important. I'm shooting on the Blackmagic Pocket 4K for corn's sake. You know, that camera came out in 2019, something like that. It's an old camera, but it still gets the job done if you learn its quirks. I've had 7 or 8 years to learn this camera's quirks. I know which ISO I want to shoot in. It's a dual native ISO. I know which one, either the 400 or the 1250, to get the best dynamic range, to favor the highlights or the shadows, depending on what situation I'm going into. I know that a really nice cinema prime lens makes a world's difference on the Pocket 4K. Otherwise, if you're using the Sigma Art 24 to 70 like I am right now, you're going to get a super clinical photographic look that doesn't really have much character, and the focus pulling on it isn't going to be like rolling off softly like a cinematic look. It's going to be very like very clean, crisp focus pulling that's meant for photography, not for moving, breathing picture. It's going to look less cinematic because of that. And it doesn't matter if it's a really nice lens in certain scenarios. That is the problem with using a zoom lens, a photographic lens for cinema. These things matter because on the lower end of the spectrum, it really makes a difference for what the viewer's seeing. Now, let's be honest. If the average viewer doesn't know or doesn't understand how exposure works or what good camera work looks like, the difference doesn't really matter. But if you want to get higher quality clients and higher quality deliverables so that you can look at yourself and look at your parents and go, see, mom and dad, the film school money that I wasted wasn't for nothing. It was still a waste, don't get me wrong, but look where I am now, baby. So put in the comments what you learned this year and what made you a better cinematographer, so you can let other people know your story and maybe they can learn something and not have to make the same mistakes we did. We're all here to help each other. I know we're all competing against each other, but we're still a community. We got to support each other. We got to do a good job of being there and helping people get better so we can raise the art form. Because this art form's struggling right now because of a 2-letter word that we are not going to mention on this channel. Anyway, I've been Antonio Pizuelos. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoy your holidays. I hope you enjoy your time off because you deserved it. You earned it. Even if you feel like you're sitting on the couch doing nothing, guess what? This time of year is about being around love. And if you are not around love this time of year, just know I love you. Sort of, kind of. As much as one could love somebody without seeing them or feeling them or knowing they exist. That kind of love. It's a universal love. Take ayahuasca. You'll know what I mean.